Hey, it's been a while. I think it's been like 2, 3 days. I don't know. Today I had different thoughts. There's I have a friend. They're going through some stuff, and equally the same as me, we have a little trouble communicating our feelings. Trying to help the other understand our emotions, how it goes. Trying to explain. Uh, Trying to explain that. I really can't see. So we're trying to explain kind of our feelings, and it's kind of difficult because one doesn't know well, we know how to do it, but we do it loosely. And well, it's different for us. He does like talking, I do writing. Now, journaling is something that I consider is my best way. Some people they're not gonna like that, of course. Everyone has their own way of communicating. Maybe you ignore it, maybe you talk about it, maybe you don't. Maybe you write, maybe you draw, maybe you read, sing, whatever. So there's different ways of doing it. And I think it's important that you have to understand every way that you're doing it. For let's say I had my ex-girlfriend, she did it talking, I did it writing, and that it didn't go exactly like straight towards each other. And that's understandable. You really can't be used to others' form of communicating when you have your own way that you developed yourself, that you've been used to for so many years, that it really doesn't work at the pace that others does. So you think about it, you try to understand. Of course, that's not always gonna work. No, there's always gonna be polar opposites, like talking and writing. I think the best way for people to work together through their emotions is like speaking. First of all, I think speaking is the best one, but it's also for some people the hardest one, which I think for me it is one of the hardest ones. Emotions aren't exactly the number one thing I'm known for. Maybe like a little happy person. Maybe that works towards me, but like anything regarding emotions, let's say talking to my family, that's not like something I'm used to. I have like, say my dad is sort of on the men have to be masculine part. Don't be sad. Life ain't gonna be easy for men. We're will always be dealt like harder cards than women. All that. Maybe he's right. Maybe he's wrong. I don't know yet. I'm still not old enough to be out in the big world. So I'm not exactly understanding all of it. Yeah, I do know that sometimes there's favoritism towards women. Sometimes there's favoritism towards men. So it really doesn't, it counteracts each other. Everyone has their own, favoritism and whatever. Men favor men, women, or women, and then women favor men or women. It doesn't matter. There is the truth that we're not all gonna get equal cards, so that's fine. And I think, regardless of how others view it, I think it's important that you continue, let's say, communicating your feelings in your ways, just like writing it out, speaking and singing. It doesn't matter. For me, I choose journaling. Journaling was the easiest one for me. It would allow me to, write easily. I was able to like write. I was writing pages after pages, like one sitting. And that's like a big step for me. I do not like to write. My writing sucks. My handwriting sucks. My spelling sucks. Literally, anything relating to writing sucks. I as long as it's not like, if it's like any part where I have to write more than 2 paragraphs like in the same time, I'm probably gonna mess up in like any part there. Short form, of course. I'm not saying I'm like dyslexic or something like that. Like I could write, but I have some difficulties with it. Like, I don't know if you could tell. Like my finger right here, I had a little bump because of how much I write, and maybe it's how I hold my pencil. But it doesn't matter. Journaling for me is really helps me. I have a journal. Well, I have two journals actually. I completed one of them. It helped me get through my feelings the first time when my ex-girlfriend left me. Then like all those 5 months after, I wrote everything, and I don't really have the best home life. So at home, it gave me more reasons to write. I'm not saying my family like all bad, but we all have our issues. Everyone has problems. Maybe I could have problems with my mom, brother, dad. It doesn't matter. The best way to communicate is to, move forward with it. If you're gonna sing, just sing more. If you're gonna do all that, do it more. I I have pretty bad memory. That's why I like to write. I reread most of the things I write, and then I try to process them in my own way. The first is the rough draft when I first read it or first write it, and like regardless of what I'm feeling, I try to write through because I I am not the best person with my emotions. You like I'm very oblivious to the certain feelings I'm supposed to be feeling. Like I don't know if you're making fun, I'm not gonna know what the hell. If you're mad at me, I'm not gonna know. If like annoyed, I'm not gonna know. You have to be direct to me. And it's difficult. Back when I had the issues with my ex, it was you really can't ignore the communicating part on journaling and then speaking. They really counteract each other, but it's not really that they counteract each other. Is that if you're not used to the other way, you're not gonna be able to sort of try to understand it, and that's what makes it difficult. You're not gonna you can't attempt to understand it when you're over here like being annoyed at the other person because they're not doing it the way that you want it. So of course it's gonna be difficult. Then another part that it could be is one that's not communicating with. Even if I'm writing, I could be writing like, "Oh, me sad," and then I could literally just write like, "Oh, school today was this, this, this." It's not gonna counter. It's not gonna work. Like, if I go, I'm feeling this because of this, and this is happening because this, so this making me feel this way. That's like, that's right. That's like how you're supposed to do it. But and writing me sad, and then like, oh, school, ooh, very nice, very nice, and then like completely skip over your feelings. It's not gonna work. It's not gonna. It's not really gonna be important. Well, it's gonna be important. It's gonna be important, but it's not gonna. It's not gonna work. The best way to process your feelings is to just let them flow. If you're gonna cry, cry. If you're gonna write, write. If you're gonna speak, speak. Sing, whatever. You can't hold it out to a certain degree. Like for me, when I'm doing these videos, I've said there's sort of a therapeutic sentence where I can sentence therapeutic video where I can talk to myself and like maybe look back in these videos, weeks from now, years from now, months from now, decades, I don't know, centuries. I'm gonna live that long. Who knows? Maybe I'm a vampire. And so you think about it, and it really has to happen only from you. No matter who you're talking to, no one is gonna be able to understand your feelings more. You could say it's a therapist, but a therapist is gonna go straight to, I'm gonna offer you these antidepressants, and then it's not gonna mean anything because then all these side effects are just gonna make you feel worse when you think when you're feeling better, but you're not. You're really not. It's really just like drugging you to the point where you don't know what the hell you're feeling or what you're supposed to be feeling. So it doesn't really count. And I'm not saying that therapy doesn't work. Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. I really don't know. I really, I have a few friends that have gone to therapy once, and they over here on medication for some reason. I don't understand why, if they're trying to talk about their feelings, they end up on medication. It doesn't make sense to me. But maybe they have something problems that they don't tell me. So maybe I'm oblivious to what they really need it for. So the best way to figure out what you're feeling is just let it flow. There's no need to hold back. Well, it depends who you're talking to, of course. Don't want to talk to someone that's like, we're gonna hold it against you. Then again, it is very hard to know who you can trust and who really listens to you. I, I think I have a friend like that. I always listen to him. I try my best. I never know what to say. They're venting to me like this, and I'm over here like, mm, that's very bad. That should not be happening. Like that, that like 30 seconds of speaking, and then with my 10 seconds of answering, it really doesn't it doesn't work. It it's difficult. It's just, you're never gonna understand another person's feelings because they're the ones living it. Even if their feelings are completely irrelevant, like you know, like it's something bad. Let's say they're like feeling some type of way. Let's say like, ooh, my brother stepped on my shoe, and then they're mad over you. Be like, oh, I'm mad, and punching holes in walls. I understand if it's like some Black Air Forces, you're creasing, you're gonna get barred, you're gonna get hit. Come on, Black Air Force energy, it is what it is. But it's difficult. The best way, I think I've said that like 4 times. Just go through with it and try to understand the other one. Your feelings are your own. Don't like try to make anyone belittle what they could, unless like they're giving you new perspective, of course. Then just but they're your feelings. Don't ignore them. Don't try to like minimize them, like enlarge them. They're things that they're a part of you. Now I say that, and I withhold my feelings from almost everyone, except my journal, because I'm never gonna be the one to be like, go up to class, go to class, start tearing my eyes out, like, literally whatever, just crying on everyone's shoulder. That is not me. I'm I'm nonchalant. Like if my hair was long enough, I'd probably get some dreads. But as I said, I think the best way is to go through with your feelings and just talk to the right person. I don't know, maybe attend a meeting or something. Like try to understand. I don't want to say relate because everyone has different issues and what they're going through is not gonna be the same you're going through and vice versa. So just let your feelings flow. That's really it. That's really all I can say. Besides like the over here like 2,000 words I just said that really counteract what I just said. Like just let it flow. That's probably what I'm gonna call this video. Let your feelings flow. Yeah, works. Okay, goodbye. Thank you.